Hi, I'm here in Bluff, New Zealand. Just finished the Te Araroa, 3,000 kilometer walk from Cape Ranga down to Bluff, and want to do a quick video to show you the gear that I used and how hiked the TA with a pack weight a little under 7 pounds. I'll get right into it. First, the stuff that I'm wearing. You can't see it, so I'll take it off here for you. I hiked in Ultra Superior 2.0s. As well as I used Darn Tough socks and then Smart Wools when they wore out. Shoes, love the socks. Only thing I recommend is to bring extra pairs, anything that you're going to want here. A lot of ultralight gear is hard to come by. New Zealand shops don't really stock a lot of the American or European brands. So if you're from America or Europe, you have specific things that you like, I would recommend bringing them. What I'm wearing on me, I have some thrift store clothing, some old school Umbro shorts, a free Nike Dry Fit t-shirt long sleeve that I got free from a race, just a regular bandana, and just a standard cheap trucker hat that I got from, it's way worn down, that I got from some thrift store. The only exciting thing, really with just base gear, a fanny pack or your superhero utility belt, whatever you want to call it. This is the Gossamer Gear hipster pack, pretty straightforward. The only thing I'll say about it is that with the single slit, it's kind of hard to see in to get stuff out, but that does keep anything from really spilling out. You don't lose stuff when you're hiking. Used a little photon nightlight, didn't do a whole lot of night hiking. It was enough just so I don't have a headlamp. It was enough just to see around camp, journal at night, that sort of thing. Inside the fanny pack, this is just stuff that I'm using all day, throughout the day. I don't have a hip belt, so the fanny pack kind of replaces that. Headphones, I have bleach to treat water, hand sanitizer, toothbrush, toothpaste, a lighter, Vagisil. I don't really know what it's supposed to be used for. I don't really want to know. But what I do know is that it is a magical cure for chafe of all sorts. Little thing of chapstick. A little box cutter. Dermasafe, I think, is a folding utility knife. It's really sharp when you first get it, so be careful. Good enough to cut tomatoes and onions and rope and whatever you need. And then I have a Ziploc, which has, can't really see, but some money and my ID, bank cards, that sort of thing. And I can also put my phone in it when it's raining to keep my phone dry. My phone's usually in here, but it's currently filming me, so I can't show you that. So that's everything in the fanny pack. Get to the gear, the backpack. And this is everything I had on my back. The pack is a KS Ultralight KS4. It's a 32 liter main body, 40 liter total pack. First, this is a Lecky Cressida. It's a women's trekking pole. I started with 2. Sorry that it's long and kind of annoying, but it's actually kind of broken, so I can't close it up any further than this. I lost my other pole. I lost it to a river in the middle of the hike. And I have to say that if I didn't use this to set up my tent, I don't think that I would keep trekking poles for the TA. Other side, this is just my water bottle. I started with 2 20 fluid ounce Gatorade bottles, and when they got grimy, I chucked them out, replaced it just with this one. It's 800 milliliters. I found this to be more than plenty for the TA. If there's one thing the TA is, it's wet. There's water everywhere. I think the longest waterless stretch is probably only 10 or 15 kilometers. You see I have a spot here. I really don't know that a spot is necessary. The North Island is really hardly remote. The South Island is pretty heavily trafficked, but it's certainly nice to have as a comfort item. Kind of like the trails in the US where there's like the AT and PCT, someone's coming around. I really don't know if it's necessary, but I certainly was happy to have it. I'm glad that I never had to use it. And the rest of this outside here, on top here, these are Montbell Dynamo wind pants, just some simple wind pants. I really don't hike in them, rarely ever, sometimes, but very rarely, maybe in the morning. I really keep them on the outside of the pack because in New Zealand, you stop hiking, you have about a 10-second grace period before the sandflies descend upon you. When you're walking, it's fine, they can't keep up, but the second you stop, they just will attack your calves, the back of your legs, your ankles, and so having something to cover is very useful. Out here, I also have, this is my tent. I can't set it up, but this is the Z-Pax Hexamid. It's the .74 Cuban, so a little thicker, pretty cut and dry, no line locks. I cut out the elastic stuff in the inside for the floor. I like it. I used it on the Pacific Crest Trail, so it's got well over 200 nights. It's going strong, and recommend. The only thing I'll say is on the TA, it is a lot of humidity. Condensation is a big problem, maybe the biggest problem that you'll face, except for maybe the river crossings. If you're worried about condensation, you might consider a double walled tent if you want a little more safety and luxury in that. I think that particularly because like conifers aren't native to the islands, there's lots of, particularly in the south, there's lots of stretches where you're gonna have to camp out in big grassy tussocky fields if you can't get to a hut, and that you're not gonna have any tree cover, so condensation can be a problem, but my Hexamid was fine for me. Also have the Z-Pax Poncho ground sheet to go along with it. I love this piece of gear. I could probably talk all day about it, but I use it inside. It goes inside of the bug net on top of it in my tent. As the floor of my tent, it kind of naturally makes a little bathtub. I don't clip it in at all. You can, if I get side-blown rain, I can kind of slide it up that side to add some more protection. Try and show it to you. You can't really see a whole lot. As a poncho, it works really well. I had a ton of rain, probably over half the days on the trail, some kind of rain, and sometime I was putting this on. What I really like about it, I can put it over my pack, so it keeps my pack dry, as well as me, and it's got zippered sides. So I've had other ponchos where if you're up on like exposed, territory and you're using a poncho, you're at risk of like the poncho really flailing and ripping off and stuff, and I've actually had that happen. But this, because of the zippers and there's a little elastic cord that kind of tightens it to your core, you don't get as much flapping, just a little bit on the arms, and so I feel much safer using it. Only other thing on the outside, tent stakes, just a random gear shop as you go. So inside the pack, let's see, this is my food bag, just a standard grocery bag. They give them to you when you buy the food, which is convenient. And the really only permanent part of my kitchen is just a little cut-off McFlurry spoon. I also, most of the trip has a peanut butter jar to rehydrate in, but I just cold soak and just eat as I go. So that's the kitchen. Then I have, this is my wind jacket, the Montbell Tachyon with a hood wind jacket. Used it in cold mornings and stuff. To be honest, I like it. I mean, it gets the job done, but I'm not in love with it. I wish that I could find something that would breathe better and that I could use kind of more throughout the day. This, if I'm doing any kind of climbing or really ascending, I'm gonna end up sweating this out. So it's, I'm still searching for a better wind jacket. And then I also have a thin fleece. This is it, just a little bit of fleece lining inside of this little sweatshirt. Traded this with a friend. It's nothing special. I don't think you need a lot of warmth. I hike most of the day, so I don't have any kind of down jacket. I like having the fleece because I can hike with it, even if it's wet or raining. Between the wind jacket and the fleece, layered. This was enough to keep me warm when I'm in camp. Other bag in here is just, this is miscellaneous stuff. I have a journal, pen, my passport and visa, and then I have a 10,000 mega amp hour, something like that, Anchor battery with charging cables and outlet for my phone. That's more than enough. And then this is my first aid kit. I won't take it all out, but it's dental floss and a needle for popping blisters, some thread as well for patching anything up, a little bit of Cuban repair tape, tweezers, and then a couple Imodium and a couple Benadryl for diarrhea and any kind of allergic reaction. Fortunately, I never had to use any of that, but the idea there is just to have enough to get me to a road, get me to a town, somewhere where I can get, to proper medical attention. So, last but certainly not least in here is my quilt, Enlightened Equipment 20-degree Revelation down quilt. Probably could have gotten away with something lighter. This is what I've used for all my hikes and have no complaints, so I'll keep using it. And then I put all of that stuff in just a trash compactor bag, and then inside of here is my pad, just a Gossamer Gear nightlight. It forms the frame of the pack as well, and is what I sleep on. So it's long enough for my hips and my shoulders. Between putting the pad for my torso and then wadding up the pack to put at my feet, that was more than enough to keep me warm from the ground at night. So that's everything. There are a couple things though that aren't here, which I started with, and sometimes it's not just what you have, but what you dropped along the way that's useful knowledge. So I do want to highlight just a couple of those things. I got rid of gaiters. I had Dirty Girl gaiters. I had a spare pair of socks, and I had Body Glide anti-chafe balm. Those were all part of kind of my footwear system. I found that the trail's wet. I mean, the TA is just from start to finish muddy, and there's just rain constantly. And I found that kind of trying to swap out socks and trying to, body glide my feet to keep them, so they'd be better, they'd stay dry, using the gaiters to keep out sticks. I found it just to be a losing battle. Eventually, midway through, I just pitched it all, and I just went with one pair of socks and shoes, and I just embraced it and jumped into the first puddle I could find every day. I also started with sunscreen and sunglasses. The sunscreen I used for probably the first, 200 or 300 kilometers until I had like a pretty decent tan, and I was pretty coated in dirt. At that point, I just ditched it. The sunglasses I broke midway through, and I just never really saw a need to replace them. The sun here is no joke. You definitely need to, starting with sunscreen was a smart move. But I found once I got going that, between my bandana and my hat, that was enough to protect my face and neck, and I was fine. I also had some gloves that I got rid of. It just wasn't cold enough to need them. I had a head net. I heard the sandflies were really bad. The thing with the sandflies is they really hang by the ground, so you need to protect your legs. But if I'm standing around, even in a really bad sandfly area, they don't really go for the neck or your face or anything. So if you were just tarping and you didn't have bug protection with your shelter, I would think a head net would be a necessity then, but I wasn't really laying down, so that wasn't a problem for me. But yeah, other than that, that's all the equipment I had for what was a phenomenal hike. I hope this was informational. There's a full gear list in the description of the video that you can check out, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, thanks for watching.